All right, so today we're gonna do a quick 30-ish minute session back testing, uh, just running through it, continuing moving forward. Uh, I have been watching this video here, videos popular, is right here, the next day model. Pretty much what it is allowing the daily time frame or the higher time frame to hit a key level, allowing that day to close, and then trading the next day. Um, so I'll just run through it here. I think this is like the best one. It also has some good key parameters where it's like no trading on Monday. What is it? No trading on Monday. Make sure the economic calendar is in play. No going lower than the 15-minute time frame and executing on the 15-minute time frame. Let me see what else it is.
Nothing
Shout out
dims
to
my
TT Trades as well.
light like a migraine. With Nurtec ODT, I found relief.
The only migraine day
Yeah, so here it all is right here.
after you're in.
Day after the high time frame level is hit, that's when you trade. The economic calendar is in play. Skip Monday, only trading New York session on the 15-minute
Anticipated higher time.
chart. So I'll test this out. I like that more than anything. So we'll just go up to a higher time frame, delete everything. I said I was going to be on ES as well. So we'll run through it. Looking at this here on ES, I think we're going to continue pushing higher. We have this fair value gap down in here that we can look into to run out these highs up here and potentially trade down into this. Especially looking at it, we sweep this slow trade into this gap and expand higher bullishly, whatever we're expanding to, this buy side liquidity over here. So I'll go ahead and put this as the weekly, drop down into my daily chart. So looking at this here, we have this fair value gap here that pushes price higher. So this is Monday due to the what do you call it? We skip Mondays due to the next day model. We would skip Mondays. So this is Monday's action. We have news on Wednesday, news on Thursday. So Wednesday and Thursday are like major news days. So something would likely form on those days. Looking to the left a little bit, we have a low here, and we have a high up here for buy side liquidity. I believe that's the previous week range a little bit. So dropping down to a 4 hour, looking at price. Yeah, so this is our range here from this low to this high. So we would skip Monday, go to the next session. Okay, let's go up to the daily. Now this is Tuesday. This is Tuesday's action. We run this low here, trade down into this fair value gap here. Looking at it from this perspective, why is it so big? That is the weekly range. So looking at it from this perspective, Monday, we drop down into this sell side liquidity level. So I know running out sell side liquidity, we can look for a potential shift and rally higher. So we ran out sell side here. Yeah, it looks like we have a low resistance all in here to push up. Uh, we do have this gap up in here. So let's let it play out. This is 9 a.m., 9 a.m., 9:15, 9:30 opens. We push higher for that 1 hour gap. We run above, looks like previous session's high over here. Like this is New York's. Oh, I'm tweaking. Oh, this is all Asia. This is all Asia. So let's see. Oh, excuse me. Let's see if we form an order block here. Because on a lower time frame, what it would be is price comes up into this buy side liquidity. We shift this low here, which on the 5 minute would be looked at as like a breaker of some sort to run out some trend line liquidity here to continue lower, or we can come down into this order block and push higher. So let's see. This is 10 a.m. Yeah, so with that failure to close below that low, may want to look higher, but there is sell side below us in this trend line. Support the trend line. Wasn't looking for that. We drop down to the 5 minute. Yeah, we're below this. We're below a low that we just took out. So anticipating external range liquidity to internal range liquidity would be the best bet. Yeah, so running out this low here and then shifting higher bullishly. Looking for something like this fair value gap to push higher. Fully fill in this here, run out sell side, shift this fair value gap entry to push up into the gap up here. I like that. It makes sense. Even though I know I'm not supposed to go down to the 5 minute, that made sense. It made a lot of sense for me. Let's see what happens. This would have been like the 5 minute fair value gap entry. We would generate buy side liquidity. There you go. You get your push up a little bit. Nice. That's pretty decent. If I had gotten the retracement down into this gap here, that would have been a decent move to push higher into the gap. Um, but it's 11:45 and there's news over here at 9:30. So let's go over to the daily time frame, see how we close here. We took out a sell side liquidity level, so this may be nice for the next day. So let's go to the next session. Nice. So running out sell side here, failing to displace below this low and closing back above it. Not only closing back above this low, but closing back above this low here lets me know that we're not trying to trade below this low and we're supporting this weekly inefficiency. So my next target would be the trend line of liquidity right here on this daily time frame. So on a 1 hour, what do I see? Tuesday, Wednesday. So over here we have a little bit of a consolidation currently. So on a 15-minute time frame, what I would like to see, which doesn't have to happen at all, is we run below this low here, trade into like this fair value gap over here, and then push higher. That's what I would like to see with this 9:30 candle. Let's see what we can do. This would make sense for a turtle soup entry there. Um, so this is Okay, let's see what happens. This is 9 a.m. This is 9:15. Oh, 9:30 is about to open. We're about to generate some buy side liquidity. This is 9:30, right? Yep. This is 9:30, right? Yep. 9:45. Still want to see that sell side level taken. Patiently waiting. Ooh, this would be a good area to buy, in my opinion. Looking at it from this perspective, of us running this low back here, pushing higher bullishly. This be my range, and getting down into that range, I would like to look for a buy setup. So I'll be dropping down into the lower time frame. Yeah, relative buy side liquidity, relative equal highs on those here. What I'll do, what I should have done is take the entry there. And I'll go a little bit lower. I'll go to this order block here. Let's see if we can get that. Stops below this low here. And I want to target these relative equal highs up here. I'll place my order. I'll go 50%. I like the way this is setting up. We may not get any lower because of it sweeping that. Let's see. We get tapped in. This is 10:30. Go down to a lower time frame. So looking at this 15-minute, 11 a.m. This trade may take a little longer than normal. See if we get a change in state. There we go. We close above that down candle here. This is now our order block. Tap that order block. We should push higher. Nice. We should continue pushing higher for buy side. Relative equal highs are this fair value gap should support price there. Pushing higher. There we go. Nice push. This is all during lunch. And this is a nice signature as well. Running below lows, pushing higher for buy side liquidity. This is previous day's high up here. This is buy side liquidity. That's our target. Here we go. Closing above this here with the fair value gap. We can look at this as support to push higher. Enter into PM session, so my stops are going to be moved up, decreasing risk to this low I got that took out sell side. So now we're in a good amount of decent amount of profits. Buy side liquidity still on the table. Still haven't taken that out. For value gap supporting price, we're pushing higher a little bit. This is 215. This is 230. This is 240. This is 3. Yep, that's 3. Dropping down a little lower than what I would like to drop down to. And we left open this fair value gap here on the sell side. Let's jump up to hourly, see what's going on. Let's take this fib off. Take this trend line off. I'd like for price to continue pushing higher for buy side. May or may not get that. That initial trade here at 10 a.m. and on was nice. This made sense. This made a ton of sense. Let me see something. If I had put my stops here and I targeted this here, oh, that would have been clean. That's a 1 to 2. Yeah, that would have been decent right there. Let's see. Let's continue on. This is that 15-minute being tapped into. Find a little bit of resistance at it. Let's just go to the next session and see what happens. We get stopped out. Cool, no worries. Oh, it did end up pushing higher. I don't know if it pushed like up to where we wanted it to. Yeah, I was looking up here. Close positions. Yeah, stopped out. But it did end up running a little higher into Asia, sweeping out the buy side of the previous day, and then just traded lower. So if I was on it, watching it, then that would have made sense to take off as it was up there in profit. But so be it. The actual trade idea in the AM session made a lot of sense. That's why the buy setup was taken. Um, but okay, on to the next trade. We took out now the previous day high here as buy side liquidity. Still, I want to keep that bullish uh, frame, but we just took out buy side here. We took out this high and this high, and we rejected it. So yeah, leaving this out, this 4 hour order block here, leaving this 4 hour order block in this breaker may cause price to continue lower a little bit, just a little bit, because I don't want to see it significantly drop. But if it were to drop, where would it drop to? This is that breaker there. This will go to a 15-minute. Yeah, so ideally what I would like to see is price run these relative equal highs here into this fair value gap and then drop lower. We have news at 4:30, so that's not significant to New York session. Let's see what we do. This is 9:15. This is 9:30. Below the low, tap into this fair value gap here. I want to see this push higher and then drop. There you go. We get the drop after touching that. What is this? This hourly 4 hour breaker. Perfectly fine. Dropping for sell side. On the sell side that it's looking for is previous day's low, way down there. So this fair value gap here may be decent. Time 11:15. Creeping out of New York. This fair value gap could be a decent entry, but we do have relative equal highs above us, so not too sure about that one, especially running out this low and this swing low here, failing to close below it, pushing back up into this order block, tapping that order block. Yeah, there we go. Closing below this low here. This is now a significant level that we can sell at, but this is lunch. So no trades on this Thursday here. We do tap into this fair value gap a little bit. Do we get that expansion? Or do we run a little bit deeper into it? And we run up into that. We may run a little higher and then drop. So let's go to the next one. Ends up, yeah, running into it a little bit and then dropping for the generated sell side. That made a ton of sense there. But we had relative equal highs up there. So this may be the draw here for this Friday. Going up back up to the daily. So we've just been ranging a little bit here. Let me take this weekly off. Um, yeah, so running this buy side, running this buy side, closing low, creating a daily order block. Use that as a level of resistance. Dropping down to the hourly. Nothing crazy significant at the moment, other than this breaker here. I think we have a possibility to trade a little lower. 30. This is 9 a.m. 9:15. 9:30. We ran lower, closed below that low. I'm also looking at this trend line here. So we ran above buy side here, failed to displace above it, shifted here. We create a 15-minute fair value gap. We could take this short. There we go. You could drop down to a 5-minute and look for a fair value gap. Or on the 15-minute, keep it simple. You have your entry protocol here. You have a run on buy side, full fill on a BISI, a SIBI left open. You have a breaker here. You have a shift in structure here. So you can return to the breaker, the inverse fair value gap, or the fair value gap, or OTE, especially running out this side. Dealing range is this. So this entry can be here, stops here, targeting 1 and 2. Relative equal lows during London. Excuse me. This makes sense, especially for it being Friday. Let's see what we can do. Let's go 0.5%. We get tapped in. Okay, there we go. That's a nice drop. Continue lower. Nice, beautiful trade. So we came up into this fair value gap here and then dropped. Again, because the protocol made sense. We're at a higher time frame key level, that being the daily order block. We run out buy side liquidity. We run out, or we shift to sell side on a 15-minute. So we run, oh shit, we run out buy side liquidity here. We run out sell side liquidity here. We fully fill in this BISI. We leave open a SIBI and we shift structure here. We leave open a 15-minute fair value gap. So entry could have been at the mean threshold of the fair value gap, or you could drop down into lower time frame, go for the 5-minute fair value gap, or keep it simple and just locate the dealing range from high to low and use OTE, targeting 1 to 2 or the most recent relative equal lows. So this was a clean trade. This made sense. Do we catch the highs or do we play around a little bit? Either way, it's Friday. No need to continue on here. So let's just go to the next New York session. Ends up coming back up to entry and that 5 minute fair value gap and then tanks, which is good. So go into a weekly chart. Let's see what the next week is likely to do. Delete everything. So we came all the way down. We fully rebalanced this fair value gap here, um, especially finding resistance at this rejection block here. Find resistance at this rejection block and we start trading a little lower. But the way we're trading lower isn't like with speed and displacement. So the draw, I believe, is this order block here. So in order to get that, we can run below this low, with that being the target for sure, especially running out this here, this daily order block, trading lower from it. So I'd like to keep that same framework. We do have a fair value gap here on the 4 hour that we can tap into and trade lower from. Tuesday, like we have, let me go down to 1 hour. Tuesday, we have news, looks to be at 8:30. Wednesday, Thursday, we have news at 8:30. Friday, we have news at 8:30. So Tuesday, Thursday, Friday are potential days that can be significant. Let's just jump down into the 15-minute clean. We could see run on buy side here. Fair value gap here. We can look to take this short for sell side. So one of two things can happen. We can run out buy side liquidity here and trade short, or we could just trade short from here to sell side and then push higher. So let's see, this is 9 a.m., 9:15, 9:30. We just drop to sell side. Cool. No worries because of the next day model. Um, excuse me, the MMXM Traders model. Monday, you avoid Mondays because it's a ICT even says it creates a small range, whatever. All right, so let's just go to the next day. So we draw all the way down to that daily order block, like I mentioned here. So now we're in a discount. We run below a low here. We tap into this order block and we support the mean threshold. So we can go from external, running out below this low here, to internal. So we can trade up into a fair value gap. So let's see what we can do here. So now we're at this order block. We can trade up into this fair value gap here. Especially looking at it here, we run below this 4 hour low here, push higher, and are struggling to trade lower. We run below this swing low here, and we're finding support a little bit. What I'm noticing is that being able to spend more time on the higher time frame really lets me align with price, being able to know and like have confidence and conviction in where price is likely to go. So on the 15-minute, nice. I like this. I like this 15-minute. So we ran below sell side here, trading down into this fair value gap here, finding a little bit of support. We do have relative equal lows here, but because we run below this low here, and so we run below this low, form a lower high, form a higher low, and then a higher high, we can find support here at this fair value gap and push higher for buy side because we supported um, higher time frame bullish levels on the lower time frame. So let's see what we do here. This is 9 a.m. This is 9:15. Oh, it looks like we're going to support this here, especially at this old area of selling, new area of buying. 9:30. Tap into this 15-minute fair value gap. We can find support here and push higher, especially after generating buy side, or we can run this low here and then push higher. Let's see. I place my bet on buying at this fair value gap, but it's playing around here. Let's see what we do. 5 minute. Oh, is that like a rejection there? Okay, price trade's a little lower. Boom, I like that rejection. Finding support at it. Finding support at these order blocks, this inverse fair value gap here. Pushing higher for buy side. That makes sense. Oh yeah, that makes sense. 5 minute, no clear entry, but I know that I have an idea of it pushing higher, especially at this breaker here. We have this breaker. So all right, boom. This is the trade that I'm going to take right here. We run below sell side, run below sell side. The last area that pushed down into sell side was these last three up candles that took out this buy side and traded into this fair value gap and dropped into it. So we came back, we came out of this sell side liquidity, out tested this fair value gap here, couldn't find the strength to push it lower to take out sell side again. So we form a higher low and then we push higher from there. So now as we push higher from there, we disrespect this order block here. This is a bearish order block that we disrespect. We trade up above it. We trade down to find support at these order blocks down here. Ideally this one here. And then we push out of it again, closing above it, finding support. So what I'll do is, with this being 9:45, I'll take an entry here at the breaker, especially trading below this low, wicking on a higher time frame, it's a wick. We trade below this low, and then we show speed and displacement higher. I'm looking to take my trade here. My stops below this low because I don't think we would come down below that. And I could play around with this a little bit. And I want to target this fair value gap. Yeah, I like this a lot. I'll play around with the level, and I'll just play around with like the TP and like get it into like this 15-minute fair value gap. There we go. 1 to 2. I like this. This makes sense, so I'm gonna take it, especially with the relative equal highs here. So I'm gonna place a trade, place an order, 50%, save. We get triggered in. Start to see a little bit of displacement. Seeing a little bit of drawdown, back into profit, back into drawdown, back into profit. Let's go to a 15-minute and watch it. This is 9:45. 10 a.m. Nice. I like this reaction here. I want to see continuation up into that buy side level up there. Nice. If we close above this candle like this, we would create a propulsion block. So this would be beautiful, 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 beautiful. We could find support here. Nice. Nice. I like that. I don't like how it reacted, but I do like the fact that we took out that high up there. So I can reduce my risk, put it to this low here. reduce the risk, put it to this low here. Tapping into this 5-minute order block. I want to see this fair value gap. We can. We may not, because we took out buy side liquidity. It may just drop from here. So let's see what happens. Yeah, traded right back down into break even, and then we get stopped out. But that's a decent trade, at least analysis on price. Um, yeah, that made a lot of sense for me. I like that. I like taking that. That process made sense. And we got stopped out at what, break even? A little bit, a little bit lower than break even. Yeah, less than $100 is nothing on a 100K account. Um, where am I? We're at 36. So let's see if we can finish out this week here. So going back up to the daily chart, see what we do. We may form a fair value gap in here. So let's see how this day plays out. Okay, so we do form a fair value gap. So now I know, especially because of where we're at in price, like noting this 50% mean threshold of this order block here. We're finding support, couldn't drive lower. Found support, pushing higher for what? For buy side liquidity. The target is this high up here. Ideally, this gap up here. So, really from this to this, these are our levels that we're looking at, relative equal highs. I would like to see if we can push higher. No news today. We have news tomorrow. And we have relative equal highs up here as well. So running out PM sessions lows over here, trading down into this gap and this order block, this mean threshold. We'll just place it as the order block on the daily. Tapped into it here, couldn't drive lower here, tapped into it here, and then displaced higher. We have this fair value gap here on the 15-minute, which can be a institutional order flow entry drill to push higher. So we could run below the daily open, tap into that, and then push higher, or we could just push higher, which is probably what it's going to do, is just push higher. So let's see, and this is the order block on the higher time frame. Yeah, let's see. I think I think it'll just push higher, especially coming above this old area of selling. Again, same situation as yesterday. Old area of selling. We come into this area over here, and then we drop. So all of these buy candles were institutions, whatever you want to call them. People were selling in these up candles, big funds and shit. They were selling in these up candles to dump price below this low so they can buy it and liquidate their orders. That's why the speed is back higher. So this is 9 a.m. I want to see if we can get a dip into this fair value gap to then push higher. 9:15. 9:30 may just open and rally. Yeah, there you go. That's 9:45, I believe. Yeah, 9:45. We just, again, like I said, support this and rally for buy side. and that order block up there. And we trade into it a little bit. Um, 7 a.m. gave a decent entry. But with it expanding higher, I'm not looking to buy. Targets are most likely these relative equal highs here. So, this is buy side liquidity. We may just tap into that and get up there. So we have news on Thursday at 8:30. So let me go to my daily chart, see what we're doing up here. So this is what I think would happen because we have relative equal lows down here. Like, I don't think we're gonna keep this. I don't think we're gonna keep this as support, even though it's at a mean threshold point. We have this for value gap here, right? That has potential to resist price, especially with this down candle here on Monday closing through this swing low. We can come up into this for value gap, find resistance, and trade lower. So one of two things can happen. On the bullish side, we can fully fill in this for value gap, pushing higher, looking to take out trendline liquidity. Or on the bearish side, like we have this order block here, we can come up into that, tap it. If we get a close below the mean threshold of the fair value gap or Tuesday's high, we can look for sell side liquidity on Thursday. So let's see what happens. Exactly. So price ended up coming up, taking out the highs, not even taking out the highs, but just taking out Monday's AM session high, respecting the fair value gap here, closing below Tuesday's candles high, trading down into the relative equal lows on the daily. So, with knowing that, I know now that these are on the menu. So I can look lower here and even to this liquidity pull down here. So we're going to use this candle's low. This is Tuesday's low. So the high was taken out and the low was taken out. So my dealing range now is from this high to whatever low gets put in. So I'm going to use this Tuesday's low as my key level to push lower. Continue route by side here. We show speed and displacement lower, create a 4-hour order block. On a 1 hour, it's a lot more clear. Excuse me. On a 15 minute, on a 15 minute, we run out Asia's highs over here during London, come down to this low here. During early New York, we fail to displace above London's high, and we show displacement lower. So, with this being PM sessions low, running this out, I would like to see price come up into this mitigation block on a 15 minute right around that daily open and then push price lower. We do have news on Friday, so it can happen there as well, but I would like to see price trade lower for sell side liquidity on the daily. So this is my target over here. This is my daily fair value gap. This was a we could have waited. Okay. Yeah, we could have waited for sure. This was a trade during lunch though, so but it is what it is. But new day. So what I think is because we ran below PM sessions low, there's sell side liquidity below this low, so we may get that retracement higher into this mitigation block to trade lower, or it'll retrace not up to the mitigation block, maybe to the fair value gaps, one of these, and then drop. So that's my thinking there. This is 9 a.m. This is 9:15, 9:30. Nice. Now I'm gonna drop down. Have some levels of liquidity here. May want to take these out and then push up into this gap and then trade lower. But it's a little iffy. We do create and generate sell side liquidity. Um, because this is a mitigation block, what I'll do is this. I'll enter here at the mean threshold of the gap, stops above the high, targeting 1 to 2. That's what I'll do. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to miss out. 222. Perfect. We'll go that route and we'll risk 0.5%. See what we do. You get triggered in, and this is 9:30, but we get triggered in at 9:40. No drawdown whatsoever. Price is retesting the mitigation block. We generate even more sell side liquidity, and this is 10 a.m. I want to see a continuation lower. If I can get a drop here. This is 10:30. Nice. I don't like that rejection. Okay. Okay, so we sweep the initial entry high. Stops are at a decent spot, to be honest with you. Uh, Looking at this from here to here, you may tap into OTE and then drop. So let's see. Time 11 a.m. Fast forward a little bit more. We have these relative equal lows here. I don't want to see these held. I want to see these taken out. So let's see what we can do here. You push higher. We may look to take out these highs up here. So, oof. Fuck it. We ball. See what happens. This is 11:30. A little bit of drawdown. I like this reaction here because it lets me know that we came up into this 5 minute fair value gap. Remember, I was saying we have this level of liquidity here that we may want to take out. Well, we do. So now at this here, because of these fair value gaps in this order block over here, if I see a full fill here, potential shift and run lower, we can be good. Um, but if this finds support, then getting out is like on the menu. Nice full fill. So this is an inverse fair value gap. Let's see if we can continue lower. Okay. Nice trading lower underneath. So now this would be looked at as a 5 minute order block, and we can create a fair value gap there. I would like to re-enter a short potentially. This would be looked at as like a longer trade. Um, so yeah, there's a fair value gap there. I'm not going to re-enter actually, so I'm just going to let it play out, see what happens. This is lunch, so yeah, no trade would have been taken here during lunch. We don't do that. That fair value gap here should resist price. If not, we come up into this fair value gap in this order block, but we have this old area of buying that should result in a new area of selling. Push back up into that fair value gap up there, and it looks like we're going to create a fair value gap. We may be clipped. It's PM. Yeah, it's a lot of shaky price action here. Yeah, this 15-minute fair value gap at the order block. I'm getting out now. I don't like the way this is setting up. Close out, didn't I? Like, what the fuck? Did I not close out? Oh, okay. But it's still showing. Like, what the fuck is going on? Just refresh this real quick. Close positions. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it looks like we're gonna get stopped out. Cool. I like the fact that I managed the trade appropriately. Um, it made sense. I don't believe these relative equal lows are gonna stay here. But Friday may be that day that we take it out. And I said this is gonna be a 30-minute session, but it's ended up being a fucking hour long. But moving forward into the next day, let's see on that. 2 p.m. Ah, okay. That makes sense. We did take out Monday's low and those relative equal lows here on Wednesday. So we could go from external range liquidity to internal. So that makes sense. I can see why we took that loss. So we can trade up into this fair value gap here and either find resistance or whatever at that level. There is relative equal highs up here as well, so let's see how we react. Again, I still think sell side liquidity is on the menu. So on my daily chart, what may happen is we come up into this order block here and find resistance and trade lower, or we could just rally higher from here. So let's see what happens. So 1 hour, next session. Okay. Okay, so now we're in more of a premium here at these levels. So daily, see how we're reacting. Yeah, so we tap that again. We tap this higher time frame level of the daily inefficiency, and then we generate some relative equal lows right here that we can hunt too clean of a level. So Wednesday. Yeah, this is Thursday's action. Yeah, it's these lows down here that I don't think are gonna stay. Looking at this here, we took out midnight opening price highs here, ran above it, found resistance at the daily inefficiency, showed speed and displacement lower, closing below this low here. So if you want to look at it, you could look at it like this, where you have your open, and your high, your low. You tap that 70.5 level, and we could look for displacement lower. So that's what I'm looking for. So let's see what we could do. We do have a fulfill on this inefficiency here and a volume imbalance here. It's 9 a.m., 9:15, 9:30. Run higher, taking out buy side, We have a relative equal lows here, and you can call this a trend line of liquidity. So I'd be looking at the run on this high into a fair value gap. So let's see what we can do here. Yeah, found support at this inefficiency here. This is 10 a.m. See if we get that continued displacement higher. We don't. We shift structure here. We run out buy side. We run out this initial push here, and then we take out the sell side. I put this as sell side, this buy side. We do have a gap below us. I still want to trade short on this. I mean, this is all making sense, like on the 2 minute probably. It's here. Yeah. You get your run on buy side, you run above higher time frame buy side, you run above internal buy side, run above fulfill on inefficiency, fair value gap here, shift here. Yeah, this makes sense. Entering here, stops above here. And I'm targeting like the lows, like significantly lower. But to keep the ability to manage the trade and manage the risk, I'll do this. I'll risk 0.5%. We'll take this trade here, entry at that 2 minute. For value gap, we get tapped in. Enter a little bit of drawdown. Yeah. May get stopped out here. Oh, we damn near get stopped. That rejection block is pretty much holding us here, but no promises. Yeah, it's looking like we're going to continue pushing higher, especially trading down into that 15-minute fair value gap. Um, yeah, I'm closing out here. Why? Because we disrespected this inverse fair value gap. The inverse fair value gap and the fair value gap, we disrespected both. Uh, so I'm going to look to come out, especially with the run on this low here. We showed just a little bit of displacement, retracement down here, which is a higher low. And then we shifted this high here. So we may continue pushing higher. So I'm going to get out here. Yeah. That makes sense. So as to why I would get out. So good on me for closing out. Yeah, good on me for closing out while I should have, keeping my losses short, cutting my losses short. But price continues pushing higher. I don't know why this is moving so slow, but we're at an hour. Um, I'll end it here. Let's see how this day closes out, though. Oh my God, of course. I don't know why, but I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi or just the server, but this shit is slow as fuck. But seeing, the model just play out where on a daily we respect this inefficiency and we just drop lower for sell side. Um, Taking out this low and aiming for this low here. I mean, Monday makes sense to trade to look lower uh, because we respected this higher time frame level. Yeah, this just ended up being a PM session trade. Wow, that hurts. But we have news at 10 a.m. We could trade up into this fair value gap here. Have a nice market maker sell model on the hourly. So we have a potential to sell above this high. Excuse me. We have potential to sell above this high. This is buy side liquidity. We'll go to the 5 minute. Let's see if we on that high there. 15, 9:30. 9:30 we run below this low, but I would consider these to be relative equal lows. When we run above buy side though, this is 9:45, dropping down into that 5 minute. If we can get a clear depiction, this is 9:55, 10 a.m. We clean out the buy side liquidity, tap into that fair value gap. You can find resistance at this level. Nice, nice, nice. Nice, nice, nice. 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute. Keep it simple. Inverse gap here. 5 minute. If I get a fair value gap here, and I have no hesitation to not sell this. Volume imbalance here, fair value gap here, running out buy side liquidity. I'm taking this to the bank. 15 minute, where's my levels? I'm taking this bitch to the bank. Tell them bring me my money. Yeah, I think this makes sense because we're bearish on the higher time frame. Previous Friday, we wick that daily fair value gap, showed displacement lower on today. We run out buy side liquidity here, tap into this hourly inefficiency here. If it loads, disconnected from server, tell me to reconnect. We tap into this hourly fair value gap here, showing displacement at the start. So I would like to see price trade lower to relative equal lows here and ultimately lower, especially with news at 10 that just came out, I would like to see this play out for shorts on the 1 minute. No significant, you know, I mean, there's a shift in structure here with the full fill here, fair value gap there, and up here in volume imbalance and stuff like that. I would just like to see how we hold this gap here. So this 4 hour, I mean, this 3 minute gap is being held, but I rather the 5 minute. I like the 5 minute better. So I'll just take this here. Want to risk some big amounts, but want to keep my mental in check and just focus on the trade. We'll keep it low here and we'll just manage it properly. Okay, let's go 10-20. Enter in. Not the best reaction. Volume imbalance gets tapped. It looks like we're going to get stopped out. And we do. Cool. No worries. I had put my risk at a certain point to where it wouldn't affect me, but it does still affect because it's like, yo, this made sense initially. Were all my entry protocol components there on this 5 minute chart? No. That's why, and that's another reason why I may still be unprofitable and losing is because if I don't see it on the 5 minute, I try to find it and make sure that it's there like on a lower time frame, which isn't good. If it's not on the lower time, if it's not on the initial 5 minute time frame, then it's most likely not going to be there. Um, so yeah, it may continue higher, especially running below this low, this swing low, come up into more of a premium for value gap like this and push higher, but yeah, tapped into that fair value gap up there. No significant shift. Well, looks like we're going to get a shift here now, but this is approaching lunch. So tapped into the fair value gap, may continue lower. Yeah, this is going to drop. I believe it's going to drop from there. Probably didn't. Yeah. Ended up pushing higher. I said I was going to do 30 minutes. Now it's going on like a little longer than expected, but ended up pushing higher. We're stuck in a range this high or this low. What's my weekly looking like? Respecting the mean threshold of this candle here and this fair value gap. We traded down, still finding support at the mean threshold. So we can look for this to be taken out. Relative equal high. It is July, it is the summer months too, so there's that. But well, there's relative equal highs here. So we ran below these lows here, show speed and displacement higher, come back down, respect the mean threshold here, push higher, get above this here, this old area of selling, resulted in a new area of buying. So the draw may be these highs up here. So what may happen is we get below this low here, come down into this order block, push higher. Let's see. 9 a.m., 9:15, 9:30. We run that low. This is 9:45. Tap into this order block here. This little gap down here. Tap into this order block. We close back above this the 9:30 low. So running this low here, we get a full fill on this volume imbalance. We shift structure here. We could look higher potentially. Looks like we may not get that. That volume imbalance may support price. Yeah, this doesn't look like any type of clear or clean action here. We just drop a little lower. Yeah, nah. This is in a consolidation now, so I'm gonna look at a different pair, but that'll be on the next session. Um, 15-minute fair value gap here. It's 11:15 with this gap. May be able to resist price lowers for this low and those lows down there, but yeah. There you go. There's a drop, and it's lunch though. So there you go. So this gap here ended up resisting price. So that's a decent entry there. But yeah. So next session, let's tap into crude. Let's tap into oil. See what that's looking like. Um, looks like it's at all-time highs. So if we can't do oil, then we could do NQ. Yeah, this looks pretty solid. So we can't do oil, then we'll do NQ, but that'll be all on the next session. And on the next session, I'll up my risk to 1% to psychologically get myself in the framework, in the mental framework of risking $1,000 per trade. I'm looking for like a 1 to 2 or more per trade. So that'll all be on the next session. I am traveling in the morning tomorrow to Houston, so I'll probably do another session today, but you'll see it tomorrow. But it just all depends on how I'm feeling. So until next time, I'm out of here.